What is up, everyone? Welcome to the 20 podcast, brought to you by Beatsource. I'm your host, DJ Spider.
DJ Spider!
That's right. Make some noise. Make some noise for yourselves. Beatsourcers, we're back. We're here. It's the end of 2022. We've been doing this 3 years. You guys have been sticking with me. I love you. Thank you for listening and being with us. You're the best. You guys check my website, my Instagram for upcoming gigs. I'm at Floor Room in LA pretty much every week at this point. I got a residency in Vegas at Tao and Marquee. I'm there every month along with other residencies around the country and one-offs. And I'm playing New Year's Eve in Hawaii. I'm doing an all disco set at the Aloha Lani Hotel in Waikiki. So come check me out if you hear this before New Year's Eve and you're in Hawaii. We'll hang out. Thank you guys for all the amazing messages that I always get from you on my Instagram and everywhere about the podcast. Hit me at DJ Spider on Instagram, at DJ SPIDER. Let me know what you think. I always appreciate hearing from you guys and the support. Rate and review us on Apple, YouTube. Give us thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever you can do. Help us out. You guys, today's show was a fun one. We just finished recording, so let's get into this. Our guest today has an iconic voice that is well known all throughout Los Angeles and beyond, from her amazing long run on Power 106, as well as all the other really cool programs, shows that she has hosted on TV and radio. She is now managing a singer-songwriter and using her talents in that field of the music business, which I think she's going to do absolutely great. She already has, but hearing her plans for the future, it sounds incredible. Her story is inspirational and motivating, and the work that she does outside of music is incredible. From being the co-founder of the LIMA Coalition, which is Latinos in Media and Arts, working to equalize Latino talent and recognition of the arts in the media industry, to her work in the mental health world. She really is doing a lot for community and the people around her. And like I told her on this podcast, she seems like a real genuine person that cares about other people. KTLA recognized her as a Latino visionary for Hispanic Heritage Month in 2019. She was recognized by the City of Los Angeles for her continued support and efforts to uplift community. She's an active volunteer for Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights Camp, UCLA, LA, St. Anne's, much more. She has such an interesting and refreshing perspective on things, which is why I love talking to her. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear our conversation. So please welcome to the show, Yesi Ortiz. Welcome to the show, Yesi Ortiz. Hey. Let's give it up. Woo! Yes. Woo. Okay. Yes, she's here, everyone. She's here. Settle down.
No.
Okay. All right. No, so good to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me to do this.
Yes.
I love you, and I love what you've done throughout your career DJing.
Thank you.
I think I've been at a couple of clubs where you've DJ'd at.
Yeah.
Had me taking a couple of shots. So I'm excited to be here.
Good. That's what we should be doing. Yeah. Well, I mean, same. I have heard your voice, on the radio in Los Angeles forever, and I admire all the work that you do, outside of your radio career. I've learned from just researching you from this, but also seen from your social media and all the things you post, all the amazing things you do, and just how much of I think a genuinely caring human being you are is something that stands out about you.
Thank you.
You just seem like you care about other people as well as
really
other
don't.
things,
No.
and you really don't. You hate everyone. So this is what we're here.
I love the public, but hate the public. No.
I sort of love and hate everybody
too.
too.
No,
That's our secret.
Right.
We're smiley and happy, and we hate you.
Right,
so much.
right. No.
Don't say the wrong thing. No, but you are a genuinely good human, and you seem to care about all the causes that you put time into, and the people around you, and music and artists and everything. So it's all you're passionate, and it shows. And you seem like you do things for the right reasons. I guess I'm trying to say.
At least I try to. I mean, that's the whole. I've always wanted to do every time I do any type of event, community or work related, I try to just always give everything that I've got in a positive, empathetic, human way, like genuine way. Like I'm never really trying to be like, let me be their friend so I could just say I'm their friend.
Right.
I've never felt I've had that hidden agenda.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people in the industry might have.
Yes.
But I've never been that person. My dad kind of raised me that way to always be loyal, honest, and have communication with people.
That's great.
So that was the 3 things that he always kind of just instilled in me as a really young kid.
I mean, those, will take you an infinite, amount of distance, know.
I'm not a good liar at all. Like even with like surprising people, I'm not like, I can't surprise people without wanting to tell them like, I have this secret. Like I want to tell you, like I'm not a good liar. I can't, ask my husband, like it's hard to surprise him because I'll tell him, like I'll blurb it out. So.
And speaking of your husband, you guys were just on this incredible trip. Like I was looking at your Instagram and it's like 17 hours ago, like the stories disappear and you're in Copenhagen, saying, I love this city. It's so green. People are on bikes. And I'm like, isn't she supposed to be at the podcast in a few hours? So I was like, maybe she's posting an old story. So
we left Wednesday morning and got back Wednesday night. So like it posted
like, isn't
late.
Today Wednesday? Oh, today's Thursday. But still like, oh my God. Well, you look incredible, especially for coming straight off of an airplane.
Yeah, I'm so tired though.
Oh my
I'm not
God.
gonna lie.
You must be.
Yeah, we just got back. We celebrated our 2-year wedding anniversary. And
congrats.
Thank you.
I was going to say, I saw a video, of some hot air balloons and anniversary
that was in,
things.
Florence.
Yes.
So
I saw Florence, I saw Paris, and I was like, oh, she's coming straight from Paris to the podcast.
Yeah.
And then I clicked back, I'm like, she's in Copenhagen. I was like, she's not even coming home yet. Like,
so this whole year since I've been out of radio, I've taken an opportunity. We've traveled.
Good.
We've been to 5 different, like we've gone to Switzerland, then we went to Italy, and we went to Nice and Barcelona, and then so we've traveled so much this entire year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Any favorite place out of all of them?
My favorite so far, gosh, only this year.
Just from those trips.
Only this year.
Yes, just this year.
It's hard to compare. Switzerland is beautiful.
Right.
Oh my God, Geneva is freaking incredible.
Yeah.
We even just like did super amazing little towns in Switzerland that we went through, and it's gorgeous. And then you have a city like Italy, Florence. It's just another mind-blowing type of city, and the people are amazing and the food is great. So favorite, I don't know, man. It's hard to compare. They all have their their special gems. I know you've traveled a lot often too.
This summer I got to travel to some of those places. Like for my first time, I'd never been to. Went to Spain, and I'd never been to Madrid and Barcelona and the other places we went. And I got to go back to Paris and London, and it is hard. Each place has its own special thing. I guess if I had to pick, the new city that I fell in love with the most was Barcelona. I just had
What did you love about Barcelona?
I mean, maybe it's because I was coming off of like this trip where we were there for my son to play soccer for 2 weeks, and so we were in Madrid, and we were in this kind of weird city in Spain that was not that fun.
Yeah.
So to go from there back to Barcelona, maybe it was just so amazing. But I felt like, the food was incredible. Our first meal there was one of the best meals ever. It was crazy. And then it just was like, I love the vibe of the city. It felt so international. It felt like there were people from all over the place. I loved just being able to like walk down the street and go to some weird juice place and then like a coffee place. And then, I don't know, there was just something about it. I felt like I fit in. I don't know. It just felt like a home. Like I was like, I could live here or something.
Right, right. I got the sense as well that it was very approachable, like to your point, a juice spot, a coffee shop, like very accessible with all these different things, and the food was incredible. My only like concern was there was a constant graffiti everywhere that said "tourists go home," and I was like,
I took pictures.
Damn.
I have all these pictures with that.
I'm like,
it was in Spanish too. I had to Google
it was
it.
both in English and Spanish, right? Tourists go home, and it's like, damn, like I like your city, but also this is so off. Like I'm not a fan. Like, I mean, that's the only off-putting thing that I had an issue with is like tourists go home. Like,
that is funny.
damn.
I know. Yeah, we were going up to like a couple
we'll
of
go
those
home.
spots, and they had it spray painted all over. So I was like, "Hey, take a picture of me." Like,
but I'm not one of those tourists. I promise. Like,
I'm like, whatever. I don't fall in that. I didn't take it personal because I'm like, that's not going towards me. If it is, whatever. But I'm respecting everybody. I'm participating in the, cultural things.
Or, crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But I know I did see that.
Yeah. That was it.
There was a lot of cool graffiti though all over Spain. Like in Madrid, it was.
Well,
crazy.
even if it said tourists go home, like it was done.
It was good art.
Yeah, it was good art. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take the picture because the art is pretty beautiful. But
exactly.
Don't like the message. Yeah. No.
I was like, come on. I'm here to help, guys.
Right.
I'll DJ a club or have fun.
And I think a lot of people assume that when you travel too, like they think that you're rich, right? So I'll get comments like, oh, somebody's rich, right?
Right.
Y'all don't know the secret? Credit card points?
Yeah.
Like if you don't have the secret of credit card points or like miles, like we need to get you up and like, go learn
a little lesson, travel, the points guy or whatever those. I follow all these different people online that do those different things.
The
like
points guy, UK, and
they're like transfer your miles to Avios miles and use that on Iberia, like all those different
If
tricks.
you're listening to this right now and you don't know the credit card points in the game, like please go do the research and go
I got 3 words: Chase, Sapphire, Preferred.
Thank you. That's what we have.
And this is not sponsored by that. So if Chase, you want to
Chase, you want some billboards?
You want to give us some
podcast?
extra, a couple 100,000 points each? We're ready to go. But I got booked for New Year's Eve in Hawaii, and I was like, you know what? I can't leave my wife and kid behind. So we're dipping into these Chase points, and boom, bringing them along.
I love that.
So
I was just telling Disco Drew, I was like, we just booked our trip to Japan.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I need to do
our
that.
Points.
Amazing.
He's like, "Do you just come back from?" I go, yeah. But we got enough points to do this.
And now's the time. I heard like the exchange rate's crazy. Like you are rich if you go to Japan, but more than if you were before.
Right.
Like the dollar works. I don't know. It's way more valuable there.
We'll find out.
Or something. Yeah.
I'll find out. When
I had a couple friends that were just there, and I want to go back so bad.
Yeah. It's I can't wait. I've been there 4 times. My husband's never been, so looking forward to it.
Amazing. Yeah, I've been a couple times, and my kid is like really wants to go. So one day I'll bring them.
Yeah, but the 4 times that I went, I hosted clubs.
Oh, really?
So I didn't really we saw Japan, but I didn't really get to see it.
So where did you go, and what clubs did
Vanity.
you?
We did Vanity it was this whole thing. Shout outs to Big Boy because he was doing it for a long time called Hollywood Connect.
Okay.
And one year he comes up to me, he's like, Yesi, do you want to go to Japan? I'm like, what? He was like, we go to Japan every year, and I host the clubs, E-Man DJs, and I can't do it this year. I got my family. And I was like, yeah, I'll go. So I, got to work in Japan as hosting these clubs out there.
So dope.
And E-Man was DJing. That was like the best thing ever. That was when, clubs actually had hosts, versus just the DJs now that are both. Right. But it was incredible.
Well, now like a celebrity can be like a celebrity, a host, and a DJ all in one, and just have their little playlist. So you had E-Man, one of the greatest DJs in the world, and in LA, legend, just so clean, so dope, so knowledgeable about music.
Yeah, I could literally be like, I'm going to do a talk break right now, boom, and then just he'll go into instrumental or give me that break for me to say something.
So you went to that club 4 times, or you went to other ones too?
We went to that one. We celebrated.
Was that in Tokyo?
Tokyo, yeah. Okay. It was on the 31st level of a building. Wow. So it was overlooking Tokyo. It was amazing.
They have some of those clubs out there that'll be stories and stories, right? And there'll be a different vibe on each level. Yeah. Japan's just unreal. It's like a different planet.
Yeah. We did some spots in Nagoya, Roppongi, but I can't remember the names of the clubs at that time, Yeah. I was just... You tell me where to go, we're going.
Oh, same. Yeah, especially there was no Google Translate and all that when I went. So I had someone helping me that I DJ'd at Harlem in Tokyo and a few other places, but they had to translate, take me around, show me what to eat.
Yeah,
you know,
thankfully we had a translator too. So I was like,
they're so nice out there. So you know,
nice.
It's the best.
So nice.
No crime.
No crime. You can literally pass out on the street from being drunk, and no one's gonna touch you or rob you.
I was like, why are these dudes all passed out on the street? They're like, no, it's normal.
You leave your stuff on a table somewhere. No one's gonna steal it.
Right.
They're very respectful.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a great country. Yeah.
It's like a different planet.
The people are really great.
Yeah. Even seeing during the World Cup this year, and they're like, they lose the World Cup, and then they clean up all the stands, and they're like, this represents our culture and who we are. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah. I know. It's beautiful.
So cool. Well, get on your points, people.
Yeah,
this is what we're proving to you. Okay.
It pays
off.
It really does.
I'm giving my kid his own account now. So like when he gets older, he's like, oh, you built up my whole American Airlines. So like, I want you, be a million miler,
Yeah, exactly. Get that status, an elite status.
Well, welcome back. And if you need to go take a nap in the middle of the podcast, let me know.
I will. Thank you.
And that looked so cool. Like Copenhagen looked incredible.
Yeah.
Paris looked magical.
It was really a great trip. And again, we're excited to do another trip in March, and then we'll see what else is on our bucket list of adventures.
That's so cool.
Yeah, travel is so important. I think that a lot of people don't do that enough. And I was definitely one of those people who constantly looked at travel as something for rich people, and I think that I looked at it as I don't have time.
Yeah.
I also looked at travel as, well, I got one whole day of resting, but resting was doing laundry, running an errand. And my whole mentality of rest was so different a couple of years ago than what it is now. Rest was a reward, not a requirement, and now it's a requirement.
I love that.
Not a reward.
That's so true.
Yeah. So.
We have to look at things like that, and I think travel does things for people that they don't realize, within the mental health space, like you're saying, relaxation, a different form of education in a way too.
Yeah.
Like you learn so much about yourself and other cultures and other people, and you get this global education that's different from school or from YouTube or whatever, or your job that you need.
And not only that, I think you also grow in gratitude a lot more, because there's so many things about these countries that are so beautiful that you just like, dang, this is so dope that they do this, right? We were just talking about Japan. Love that. But then also you coming back home, and there's like this gratitude for Los Angeles that you end up having, like, I love this about Japan, but man, there's nothing like coming back home. And there's this gratitude. Yeah. And there's gratitude that also builds, as you're culturally learning and expanding your mind about how other countries work and do and live and, their mannerisms. Yeah. You're also growing yourself in gratitude. So like,
that's so true.
It's really dope to experience that now. And I'm so glad I'm thinking like this now than like not learning this lesson at all. Because there's people who are so much older than me that still don't know that lesson. Right.
And it sounds like it came somewhat of some sort of perfect timing for you, because you are not doing radio, like you said, so you have that time that you never had before. Yeah. You're with your husband now. The pandemic has sort of changed, isn't that you can travel now, you can go to Japan and things, so kind of good timing.
It is good timing, and it took me a while, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to really embrace that timing, because like, I've been doing radio, or I've been in the industry for 20 years almost. Yeah. So amazing. Being in it for so long and then not having it, it's like, whoa, hold on. Right. What am I going to do with my life? Yeah. Right. So you just kind of have like this like, this is how I always say, you always hear people like the whole duck situation. People are floating and then you see ducks paddling their feet underwater. I don't describe my life like that sometimes. I describe it as if, when you're swimming in underwater in a deep ocean pool. I mean, a deep pool, right? Yeah. End of the deep pool. Yeah. You're swimming, you're having a great time. You can swim. So that's why you're at the deep end. And when you're underwater, you don't feel the weight of your body. Your life, you feel light. Yeah. So you're swimming, you're having a great time. Yeah. At some point you get tired and you come up for that air and you're searching for that ledge because you need to get to that ledge to grab onto because you're tired. Right. Well, it's almost like I got to a point where I was like, I came up for air from swimming underwater for so long that I'm searching for the ledge, and I'm like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? do I go, is it further if I go to the right? Is it further closer if I go to the left? Like, do I swim to the shore? Is it easier? Like, you just start kind of thinking it that way.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's how my life was at the beginning when like I, got out of radio. It was like, holy smokes, I know I'm safe.
Yeah.
Like we're good. I'm safe. I'm home.
Right,
I know how to swim. But shoot, which ledge is closer? Which ledge is closer? Should I grab this one? Should I grab that one? And you just start kind of figuring out like your life that way. And you get scared. And anyways, you get to the ledge and you just realize like, okay, I had to go towards this direction. And my direction at that time, during this time, was traveling. Like I had to figure out which direction was traveling. Took some time to travel. I was really scared. I was like trying to, oh my God, this is going to work out. Like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Artist management. I got into artist management. So like focused on that. But traveling, I think, was like the big key for me to open up my mind and be okay with, taking a risk and like getting out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And just, yeah.
Yeah. That's such a cool way to think about it, and really, I think there's no wrong ledge to grab onto. You can always get your breath, swim back again to the next ledge. It's not like nothing's ever going to be perfect. You're never going to pick the exact perfect thing, but you'll learn something from whatever direction you go in.
Exactly.
And then that will lead you to the next direction.
Right.
It's all meant to happen one way or another.
Right. Right. So for me, that fear was traveling, and I finally been able to unlock it and feel safe again. And now I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like I could do this. And now, artist management is his next focus. But to kind of go back to what you were saying, like, I because I had that time to figure out which way I wanted to go, like traveling was like, all right, we're going to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been, it was scary. It was scary. But I've been fortunate.
And so like coming out of radio, I mean, you were on Power 106 for
12 years.
Okay. I was going to say a really long time. I wasn't sure the amount, but
12 years.
Yeah. So it's
a long time, huh?
Yeah. And you were on all the time, right?
All the time. I was on like 7 days a week. When I first started at Power, I was on 7 days a week.
That's what I thought. I mean, I never didn't hear your voice.
7 days a week.
That's
yeah.
No one works that much.
Even though like the Sunday show was mostly recorded,
right?
You still worked.
Yeah.
To record your show.
Yeah.
And so it was still 7 days. And then I remember going into the office and be like, listen, I work 7 days a week. Can I get 6 days? Can I do 6 days?
Right.
And then they were like, okay, come in live every other Saturday. And so then I was like, all right, cool. I can come in live. I can take a day off technically every other Saturday. But I still had to record for the show.
Right.
But I was on every day.
And you're
still
working all the other days, so it's not like you can do it on those days.
Right.
Oh
It was a lot. So I was there for 12 years, yeah.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Would you consider going back to radio ever, or do you think you've put in your time and you want to move on to like the artist management or other things in your life?
I love radio. Radio is something that will never leave. I would love to go back to radio, but it has to be the right place, the right position, the right timing for things. It's all about timing.
Yeah, of course.
Who knows? I could be 65 years old and then they offer me a old school show. All right, I'll take it. I love radio so much that I will always consider radio to go to being something that I always go back to, no matter what I'm doing in addition to my life, because I do a lot of community service, so I'm always involved in community. I do have now an artist that I manage, so like giving her my full-time commitment to doing that, and if no matter how much little or how much money I do make or don't make, if radio came, I'm all like, that's always going to be something that I look at.
What are some of the life lessons or career lessons that you took away from being on the radio that long, or just being in, I guess, Power?
Yeah. I learned a lot about myself. I realized that I used radio for a lot of, it's almost like you kind of create this like this
Alter ego.
Alter ego. Thank you.
Yeah.
This alter ego in a sense, because just similar to you being you should probably understand this. You're a DJ, so you know your mission is to make people dance.
Yeah.
And make people feel like they have a good time and let their worries go and don't worry about it for one night. Like you're gonna get them through whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt too. Like being on radio, like you felt like for one day or for a couple of hours, let me be that person that just makes you try to feel good and like, don't worry, I got you, right? Just let your worries go.
Right.
And I think you also forget to do that for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You forget to do that for yourself, and you forget that, like, man, this is something I forgot to do for myself for a long time. So you just kind of like put it in the back burner. So like I had to really learn how to balance that. And it took me a long time, but I had to learn how to balance that. There's not only the personal growth that you learn, but there's also like the business side of things, people's egos and different levels of egos and different levels of personalities that you really have to like learn and adjust to and have conversations with those people and how to have conversations with people and how to listen.
Yes.
How to listen. That's a hard part.
That's very hard.
Yeah.
I've had to learn that through this podcast.
Yeah, my husband always says, listen, talk once, listen twice.
Oh, that's good.
So
yeah it's tough, you know, because it's hard. We were saying before, you have to try to listen to people, remember what you want to say, you know, and all the different parts.
I'd be like, man, I'm a dope multi-listener. Like, dope multi-listener. It's hard. It's hard.
I guess being a parent helps that. You know what I mean? I know, because you're like, oh, got to hear what my kid's saying and have a normal conversation and do work and talk to my wife. It's like,
right.
I got the multi-listener, and I know you have, you know,
raised a lot of kids.
Yes, a lot of kids.
Raised a lot of kids.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I want to get into all that stuff. So as far as so a little bit more about the radio stuff, like something I noticed, you know, is that you have, in all the positions you've been in, you've really exceeded or excelled, you know, beyond what most people could do or would do or have done, I think.
You think so? I think so.
I think you did, yeah. I think that it seems just from the outside, any opportunity that you were given was not wasted and was
tried to
flourished into more than most people of just kind of doing the normal thing, I guess. Right?
I tried. I think so. And thank you for saying that, because I really did try. And I think it was harder for me because, one, I think it was really hard for me. I wanted to really, make myself proud, make my parents proud, make my culture proud, you know, being Mexican-American. There was so few of us that were seen. I looked at radio for me was like, I looked at the Baker Boys. I looked at Josefa Salinas, rest in peace, Josefa Salinas. I looked at Josefa Salinas, Nautica de la Cruz. I looked at these women, Angie Martinez of the world. I looked at them like, damn, they're the people that sound like me, that kind of look like me, that, you know, are doing something that I'm like attracted to. So when I came in, I wanted to make sure that I respected their hard work and it wasn't going to go to waste. And it wasn't going to be tainted by me trying to be something I wasn't. Right. So like I really worked really hard to try to make every opportunity count. Yeah. Because they broke barriers for me to be here. Yeah,
that's what it seems like. And also, I mean, you know, a lot of these industries are male dominated in a way. And I mean, not to take anything away from, you know, you know, I'm sure you could have done it either way, but did that add an aspect of making things harder or things you had to push through or deal with even worse, harder things than maybe guys don't understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and when I first got my radio job in Vegas, I remember this one DJ very specifically, I won't say his name, but very specifically saying, you're going to fall on your ass. You're not even going to make it in this industry. Wow. And I was like, wow, like that's really harsh. Like why? Like, well, you don't look the part. You don't dress the part. You need to act the part. What does that mean? You know, what does that mean? Looking back now, I know what it meant. I wasn't pretty enough. You know, I wasn't sexy enough. I wasn't, you know, all these, but I didn't know that then. I was just like, God, this guy's like, F this guy. Right. And then, you know, one of the things that I always struggled too was building relationships with artists, was because the minute I started building relationship with artists, if we're having a conversation at the corner of the studio for whatever reason, because we just found ourselves there, it was, oh, did they get your number? Are you guys gonna? It's like, no, I was having a conversation about their child. To them
just like you.
Yeah. I was having a conversation.
Did they get your number?
Right. And it's like, all right, it was that was always first.
Yeah, right.
So I already knew walking in through the door, I was gonna be, 10 times, I had 10 steps behind me.
Yeah. Well,
how to work towards. Thank you.
Like you were gonna have to do 10 times more than maybe someone else would.
Exactly. More specifically, a man would. Yes. Because I had to make sure that they knew that my approach to conversations with artists were genuine, to build relationships in an authentic way, not because I want to sleep with them or they want to sleep with me, or there's that constant reminder, because I am a woman.
Right.
So there was that.
Right. That everything is like sexualized for no reason.
Sexualized,
you know what I mean? With DJing, with everything. Like, oh, you're a female DJ, and I'm going to ask you just questions about sex. Or something. You know what I mean?
And then, like, as a personality, like, I'm not sexualizing myself enough, right? Like, I'm not over.
But then would you want to not be true to your own feelings? So then you go into a battle of like, I want to be myself,
right.
You know?
So if I walked into work with no makeup on,
right.
Oh, I'm looking disheveled.
Right.
Like,
even though I can just like put water on my face and just roll in. Like,
exactly.
What up?
And you're not considered disheveled.
Right.
You're not considered like a hot mess, but I was. On top of all of that, you're working through those insecurities and trying to build your own confidence.
Right.
You're also dealing with men and their ego trying to sexually harass you at work, or hearing conversations about them sexually harassing other women or other people, and how the boys' locker room conversations that are happening in the building that you're trying to ignore and just do your job.
Yeah.
Not only that, you add the conversations of like their egos, that they treat you like a woman in terms of their idea of, hey, can you get this done for me? Hey, can you write this? Hey, babe, can you write this up for me? Like, can you? Right. I'm not your secretary.
Yeah, like you're a woman, so you're a secretary, right? That's in your blood.
Right. And my name doesn't end with babe.
Right.
Thank you so much. My name
I'm
does
not your wife.
Right.
Girl.
So that was really annoying. And you're trying to be a good coworker, a good colleague. You're trying to call them out, but then also if you call them out, are you going to hurt their feelings now?
Right.
And so, because I still have to work with this individual or these people, I have to still work with them. So you're trying to be...
Right, so they're going to say, you're just some uptight, annoying girl, and you're like, I'm just a human that's just telling you how I feel, but it doesn't get taken like that.
Right. So you have to really learn how to, like, for me, I had to really, like, learn how to balance that.
Yeah, that's tough.
And for so many years, I had to really learn how to balance that without coming... And there were times where I was called in the office and they were like, hey, Yesi, you're kind of being like a diva. And it's been told to me a few times already. It's like, I'm being a diva? What did I do? Oh, I spoke up and I said I didn't like that. Like that was considered a diva. So it was really challenging, I think, as for me to and I think as challenging as it was, I learned to try to just, all right, figure it out, how to make it, how do I don't take this? How do I not take this personal? It was so hard when it was personal. Right. But I really did my best just to try to not stir the pot and do all those things up until now I'm grown a little bit more where it's like, well, I don't give a F what you think about me now. Like, fine. Like, I'm good. Like, it's a different vibe now. It's a different Yesi.
Good.
you know? Yes. And I started young, so like of course you're growing and you're trying to figure out yourself, and you know, I had
And you've been through so much. I mean, like you said before, you adopted 7 children.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. So I raised 7 children.
Right.
6 of them were adopted.
Okay.
By me.
Okay.
They were my maternal nieces and nephews.
Right.
And
that was in your mid-20s.
I was 24 when I got
pretty
custody.
Young. I mean, that's what most people would even still call a kid sometimes. You know, and we see people at the club like, "That's the kid, 22, 24." You know, so
I know
technically it's not. But
no, it's not.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And how old were they then?
The youngest. So the one that even though she's one of the child that I raised, she moved in with us when she was 4, like 3.5,
okay.
4. But the one that I did adopt, he was 5, and now he's 22.
Oh
Y'all
my
do
God.
the math. You can figure out how old I am. Okay, I don't care.
I won't do
But
math.
anyways, he's now 22.
Oh my God.
He was
Amazing.
5.
And so were
Yeah.
some of the other kids a little older, so maybe
Yeah,
they
the
could
oldest-
help a little bit.
The oldest was 11
Okay,
and
that's
a half,
nice.
12, 11 and a
Right.
half, 12 years old.
So they can sort of do things.
They did, but they could they absolutely, you should have seen us on laundry day. Laundry day, I had that on lock. The older kids had their responsibilities. The middle
even
kids had
imagine.
their responsibilities. The younger kids we all had our roles.
Right.
Grocery shopping was a whole thing
my
for
God.
us, you know, but
Probably expensive.
I remember walking into a Food for Less in San Diego with all of them, you know, right around the grocery cart, and everyone's looking at me like, yo, she got busy at a really young age. And,
And you're like, no, you don't even know.
right. Y'all don't even know, you know, the stares that we got and the
Right.
looks that we got,
Oh my God.
which probably contributed to my trauma later on in the years,
True,
you
yeah.
know? So
Right.
I think just in
Wow.
general, like trying to also manage a whole family, being the matriarch of a family
Right.
while holding a career was really
And
interesting.
developing a
And
career.
developing
I mean,
a
it was the
career.
beginnings of what you were doing, right?
Yeah.
And you were dealing with all those issues we were saying, and you're learning how to do it and
Yeah.
navigating your way while being responsible for all of these kids.
Yeah. And thankfully, you know, I did have my mom move in with me at some point, and
Nice.
my stepdad moved in,
Yeah.
my half sister moved in. So at some point, it was 13 of us in a 3-bedroom townhome.
Wow.
And yeah, a 3-bedroom townhome, guys. Put the math and how many people slept in each room.
That's a lot.
It was a lot. And so, you know, humility and humble and, you know, being humble, just, you know, kids, family will humble, kids will humble you real quick.
Oh, yeah.
They don't care who you talking to.
Yes.
100%.
100%.
So I think I just kind of walked that way.
Yeah.
That way.
Right.
I think that's what contributed to the way I am now. Like I just kind of always walked that way.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one of the reasons why community was so important for me too, was because I was constantly in community with the kids, like
Right.
Little
You had your own
League or
community.
Yeah, exactly. You know, as I'm talking to the audience about struggles and here, let me help you out, I'm going through the same thing.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. So. Wow, that's a lot. Well, yeah, I mean, just to speak on some of the community stuff that you've done and that you continue to do, I know that, you know, just to call out some of the things I saw in the research, but that you got recognized as a Latino visionary for Hispanic Heritage Month in 2019 by KTLA. And that's a big deal. I mean, that's a huge station in LA.
Yeah.
And is there any story behind that or anything?
They you know, they wanted to recognize me for a lot of the community work that I've done. I had been doing a lot of different events throughout the community. I have a really great relationship with the YMCA of East LA.
Nice.
And I also work with Colin Kaepernick's Know Your Rights camp. So I volunteer, my husband and I volunteer with his camp as well.
Nice.
I think it was just overall, in general, I'm an advocate for mental health. I've done campaigns with We Rise, which is a big mental health organization.
Right. Yeah,
that
I got
comes
to
here
DJ
LA.
one of their events once.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And I'm just, you know, constantly connected in these different types of spaces. And KTLA was just really amazing at like wanting to give me that recognition, which I felt really honored and, you know, like super honored to receive that. Cause, you know, when you get those small little things, those like small, like those wins to somebody, you know, like someone like me, it's a big thing for me. Like, it's like I
Right.
hold it in my heart.
I'm sure it's very special and probably gives you extra motivation and,
It does.
a push to keep doing these things.
It does. It gives you that push, and then also it gives you that, dang, I don't want to let them down.
Yeah, yeah.
You
true.
know?
Yeah.
I don't want to let them down because they really believed in me.
Right.
Do I believe in myself?
It's tough. I
So,
mean,
yeah, it's hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other things, I mean, the city of Los Angeles,
Yeah.
supporting your efforts to uplift community. And I
Yeah.
mean, the Los Angeles is a big place, so to be
Yeah,
recognized
city of LA,
within there, I mean,
yeah.
there's millions of people here. We're bigger than some countries, and states. So
I've
that's
been
huge.
really fortunate to get those type of recognitions that I don't really talk about unless like someone asks me. Like,
Yeah.
I could definitely show you all the different recognitions that I've gotten, but I don't ever really do that because I don't do it for those reasons.
Right. But I think it's cool to point out to people listening because a lot of our stuff is like, yo, I got that gig at that club. And like, that's super
Yeah.
dope. And we should all follow our dreams and follow our goals. But at the end of the day, like, you can look out for yourself as much as you want. But if we're not looking out for each other, then there
Yeah.
won't be a world to even go do a gig in
Yeah.
and stuff. So you have
Don't
to.
get me wrong. I would love to be recognized by billboards,
Yeah.
30 under 30 when it was, I'm not 30, but like when they were doing those 30 under 30 or 40 under 40, like
Right.
of course I would love to be recognized by my
I'm like,
peers.
can I get on 50 under 50?
Right. You want to be recognized by
Yeah.
your peers in the industry that you love and you work so hard
Right.
for.
Yeah.
But but unfortunately, like, when that doesn't happen, you kind of like, damn, I'm not doing enough. Right.
Right.
But what you realize is like when the community does that, that actually makes you feel more special
Yeah.
than what some board members that are kind of thinking for that. You feel like the community has your back that way.
Right.
So like when that happens, like now I want to give them more.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally does.
So, I've really close relationships with different organizations, and I do my work in silent. Sometimes if they need my name to use my name for something, I'll absolutely give it.
Right.
For the most part, I work it in silence and let's
Yeah.
go. Let's roll up the sleeves and let's get some work done.
Yeah.
You know?
That's amazing.
So that's
very commendable. And
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah. You got to have you got to be if you're in our business, in our industry, like you want the community. So how do you expect to have the community? How do you expect the community to have your back when you don't have theirs?
Yeah, that's so true.
So like, you want the clout, you want the likes, you want all of those things by the community.
Right.
So how come you're not in the community?
Yeah.
So
it's true. Yeah, I think people get caught up in this idea of fame or being famous for something but not necessarily helping anyone out or something.
Hey man, and that's how you roll. That's how you roll.
Yeah, of course.
All good.
No judgment.
All good.
But,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's my
right.
My personal vision
and something that you have put together yourself, and that's a big part, is the LIMA Coalition, right?
Yeah, Latinos in Media and Arts.
Okay.
Something that we started a couple of years back with a conversation of like, hey, how come we don't have much representation in these spaces, and how can we help elevate those Latinos that are in, like, they have their foot in the door, maybe they're just like the assistant agent.
Yeah.
How do we help support them so they can be a primary agent at like CAA? Like, what do we do? How do we help that happen? At the same time, how do we create this pipeline to help our younger youth get into these positions, or like, how do we educate them? So we started doing career days in different high schools.
Oh,
so
cool.
We have a really great relationship with some of the high schools and schools in LA, and we do career days specifically for the type of different work that Latinos in media and arts have. Publicists or artist management or radio host or, TV, film, something in that aspect.
Yeah.
And we basically, it's a career day.
Yeah.
And then from there, we started working with different organizations like LALIF, the Latino International Film Festival.
Okay.
And, we did a really cool thing one year where we invited some of the students to cover the red carpet for the kids that were showing their film.
Oh, that's great.
And so we invited a couple of students to do that. So because they to kind of give them that hands-on teaching thing.
Yeah.
And so that's how we
cool.
kind of like pipelined and bridged that. So
Right.
that's something that was started between me and 2 other people, and we started a conversation, just kind of grew, and it just kind of grew into like this network.
Right.
And it's just turned into a network of community, and for a while.
That's
so
huge.
yeah, yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see that, and to see like, because over, it used to just be like so segmented, or like that's a Latino show, or something like. But there's so many different types of people within every culture. Every culture has every different kind of person. So it's cool to see these shows. Even the TV show, or like that show, This Fool.
Right. I love
that's
that show.
my friend Frankie is
Frankie's your friend.
I've known him like for a long time, and I've like seen his rise, and like to see this. I mean, is so incredible.
Yeah,
like I'm just beyond happy.
If he's watching this, please tell him I love the show. I'm so glad season 2 is coming.
The best.
Yeah,
so he just got
great.
nominated for like an award, like I think Independent Spirit for like the best character.
Him and Chris Estrada are amazing.
They're hilarious.
Amazing.
So he's so funny, all his characters, and I went and saw him a couple weeks ago at Laugh Factory on a Tuesday.
Oh, how was it?
Like I was
great.
crying.
I made sure to share the story, like to share as much on my stories about the show. I'm like, if you guys aren't watching the show, you have to.
So good.
I just love how the show, you're entering into their world.
Right.
The show isn't stereotyping or typecasting
well, that's what I'm saying.
anything.
It's showing every different kind of person. Yeah.
Literally entering in their world.
Yeah.
And seamlessly. And that's how we need more shows that way.
That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
So it's cool. And that's why I think your, coalition is beneficial in so many ways like that,
Yeah, thank you. We just want people to enter our world without us having to explain it or say it or stereotype and individuals and recognize and just, and so we have some really great people just within the network. And when every time career days are our best things that we love doing in the high schools. And we were doing it virtually when COVID happened. And now that where everyone's kind of back,
right.
I'm excited for 2023 because we do already have some schools lined up. So excited for that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more on the radio tip of things. I think the relationship to because a lot of this podcast is about DJing, and DJ, just DJ stuff.
Yeah.
And I know, as a host, and on your show and all the shows you did, you worked with so many DJs, and I'm sure you broke so many artists, and you saw artists go from nobody knew who they were to being famous.
Yeah.
Are there any, artists that stand out that you were able to help in the process of breaking them in terms of like making them known to the world?
Yeah. I think in terms of artists, there were so many artists that I was able to be a part of their early careers, or at least part of the early journeys, like Kendrick Lamar, Big Sean, J. Cole, Mac Miller, rest in peace. Just being able to witness them in their just chill, like pre-celebratory status,
that's so
we
cool.
used to do these events at Big Bear Mountain, and it was always the smaller acts, right? The smaller ones that kind of, J. Cole was a frequent one. We had him twice. And the day that I remember this was a fun fact. Remember the day we had that event? It was also happened to be the Sunday brunch with Rock Nation, and he had just gotten signed to Rock Nation,
right?
And Rock Nation sent a helicopter to Big Bear to pick him up.
Wow.
So after the Big Bear performance, he was hopping on the helicopter and flying to the Rock Nation brunch.
Whoa.
It was the coolest thing ever. Like just those moments that I got to be a
incredible.
part of and witness, and, Mac Miller being silly and just a kid, and Tyler, the Creator, being me being one of the first persons to interview Frank Ocean, me being one of the first persons to interview Childish Gambino.
That's amazing.
And by the way, I got to be on Gambino's Break the Internet album.
Oh, wow.
If you haven't heard, it's a Telegraph. I think it's track 6. I do the intro, and like being able to just be a part of those.
How cool is that?
That Grammy nominated album, amazing. when he had asked me, like, Yesi, can you do the intro for this song? I'm like, yeah, I got you. So, like, who knew it was going to be as big as it was?
Yeah, I know. I'm still playing songs from it, you know, like at certain gigs.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think just being able to be a part of those artists in their careers over time was one of the reasons why I just loved being it, because music is history.
Yeah.
And being a part of history
is
something incredible.
Right.
So just in general, you know, shout outs to Eric Bellinger. He's another great artist that I love and that was able to be a part of his success. Elijah Blake, another great artist, R&B singer who's Grammy nominated as well.
Yeah.
Love Elijah. He's like a brother to me. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about like DJs that you worked with? Are there any DJs that stand out as people you loved working with, either because of their talent or who they are? Or
oh my God, I worked with so many different DJs.
I heard of some guy, Disco Drew.
Disco Drew. Shout out to DJ Salva, by the way. I worked with so many different DJs who even were guests on the show when I had the
Salva doing?
Salva's still doing his thing, but it's been a minute.
He was producing a lot.
Yeah.
And then over the pandemic, I saw him doing a lot of posts, and then I feel like I haven't seen. Maybe it's my algorithm. I haven't seen him.
Algorithms are messed up.
All of a sudden, people just disappear off my whole radar, and I'm like, are they alive? What's happening? I have to go search. I'm like, oh, they post every day, but it doesn't show me.
I had so many different guests on my show when we did the New at 2 for the longest time. Even the noon mix. The noon mix was something really cool.
Right.
We had.
Was that with Reflex? Or?
Yeah, that was Reflex. Okay. Yeah. So when like sometimes we'd have special guests, and I was like, hold on, I'm gonna host while, you know, God, I don't know, so many different DJs.
Yeah.
When you know, A-Track is gonna like do something.
Right, because they'd have like a guest.
Yeah, like they'd have a, you know, DJ A-Track like just come in, or Aoki like do a set. And I was just like, I'm gonna host while, you know, like just those moments were just really epic for me.
That's so cool.
And was really cool. And when I first got to Power, still seeing the legends, Mr. Chalk, DJ Ron, you know, seeing them at work. Mm-hmm. Was something that I'll never forget, you know, and pre-Serato. Right. So like being able to have that just see that.
Yeah. The true
artistry of it all and where it's at now. Yeah. It was really amazing.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm really fortunate that those are the memories I will always carry, and I love so much to have. And
that's great.
My phone cameras and pictures are.
Oh my God! You probably have
really
so many amazing pics.
Yeah.
People from over the years.
Yeah, I do. I remember Cuddy when he had just gotten signed, as well. Yeah. He had the Jesus piece. I have a picture of me me holding the Jesus piece.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
That's so cool.
I can relive these moments, but whatever.
And so. Like you said, you did radio forever, and we can get into how you got into it and stuff, but your main focus at the moment is being an artist manager. Yeah. And what's your artist name?
Calista Del Toro.
Okay, Calista Del Toro. Yeah, she's a singer-songwriter.
Singer-songwriter.
Indie pop.
Yeah. Which is different from what people would probably assume that I would go into, you know? Because hip-hop, R&B would have been something, the lane. And I was asked to manage a couple or be a part of like management teams back in the day. But I never really took that because I was building my own career. Yeah. So now being able to do this with Calista.
Right, with the travel and the artist management, you're open to be able to do it. And like, how do you think that your years of knowledge being in radio and seeing how artists were successful or not successful goes into working with her?
It's actually helped a lot, to be honest, because I've seen the greats before and the
people that have fallen off probably too, and like what they've done and
what made them just the one and done type of scenario. That's the knowledge that I feel that I have, and also pre-digital and after digital. Yeah. Like, because, we got into I got into music before social media really took off. It was MySpace. Yeah, I know. Right? Yep. And now it's a different beast. So you can see that. I think it's helped me a lot with her, but there's also a lot for me to learn, which I really love, that I get to learn something new and just kind of like embrace that, because I'm still learning how music management works and sync deals and publishing and licensing and all that stuff. And it's the same BS that you have in radio, which is the gatekeepers and finding who those gatekeepers are and just trying to work your way. And at some point it gets, when you're in a position that where you just kind of feel like you have to start all over again, it can feel really scary.
Yes.
So you've been doing something for so many years that you're comfortable with, that you love, and then it goes away, and now you have to start something new again. It could be very scary, and like you start to question yourself, can I do this? Am I capable? And am I capable? And that's been the hardest part, was to get out of my own head and say, yes, I am capable.
Right.
It takes a lot for me to say, yes, I am capable.
Right. I think you look at everyone and go, do they really know what they're doing either? Pretty much everybody's making it up. You know what I mean? Maybe they've had more or less experience, but
no, everybody.
You got to trust yourself and just take the dive and just do it.
Really. Yeah, everyone's just making it up as they go. That's
a lot of the people is what I've learned over time too. Is like, oh wait, I could do that. Right. You know what I mean? I might mess up, but like, who cares? You're just going to learn from that anyway. Right. Even if you have a horrible,
I wish I would have learned to DJ, to be honest. I wish that would have been my backup. I don't know why.
I think it's too late. You got a lot of connections, knowledge, musical knowledge of how to DJ, knowledge of how to move the crowd. You got pretty much all the aspects of it besides the down to the, little technical things. So.
I know. I really do.
Also, Mr. Chalk has a school. We got people with schools.
Mr. Chalk had told me already a long time ago, yes, you come to the Scratch Academy. I got you. And I was like,
you could be a DJ by next year if you want. I'm telling you.
You would think for all that, but see, I wanna learn like how the Scratch Academy teaches you right? Can. Like that way.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, I'm sure I can just pull out the computer and figure it out. But I don't, who like that.
Yeah, scratching's dope. I love it. Still do it, but people don't care as much. If you can put together a dope night, and like it'll be like this place I'm DJing tonight. They probably don't want me to scratch very much, even though I'll do it in the beginning and the end a little bit. Do
you miss that?
No, it's fine. I love tonight. Okay. I'll do a dope, I do a 4-hour set at this spot that's kind of loungy, and they don't want it to be like mainstream or super throw your hands up type dance. It's more like they want people like moving and like this cool vibe and like groove. Different music. And so it's a challenge. Everything's a challenge. I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly having the same thoughts of like, oh, should I be doing this? Is this my thing? So
do you have your playlist already set? Like, do you have? No. Okay.
And I've been recording it every single gig I do there. And so just for my own challenge, I've been posting them on the internet. So I try to make at least the first couple hours of it completely different from every other time I'm there.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm making it really hard on myself. But no, I'll just have like some folders. I'll take some of my histories that I did there, put them into their own folder, have a bunch of other folders, and then just sort of dig through that as I go, as I'm watching the crowd and seeing the time progress and and
with
just make
being
it
around so many DJs, do you ever also catch yourself listening to the other DJs and being like,
course.
I know what they're about to do here before they even do it?
For sure I do that. And I like just hearing other DJs just to hear what they're playing, and maybe especially if they're in the same place as me. Some of my friends DJ this spot, so I'm like, what are you playing? What are you doing? Let me see your history. Oh, I'm going to send you my mix, oh, you played that there? Okay, then maybe I could do this kind of set. Oh, let me give you these edits I made, and it's been getting me to make more remixes and edits that are for these kind of spots rather than like stuff I couldn't maybe play at like Tao Vegas, but I could play at like Floor Room Los Angeles.
You're creating your own.
Like Afro beats with like Beyonce over it, or things that'll be in that type of vibe.
How long does that normally take you to do, like create something like that?
Oh, sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes a couple weeks. It depends on like what I'm doing. Also, I'll play it a couple times. So, like, I'll make it, and I'll play it, and then I'll listen back to the mix, or I'll remember what happened when I played it, and I go, okay, I got to switch up that one part. It brought the energy down, or I'm going to re-edit it. So I'm able to test it out live.
Right.
But usually pretty fast. Serato, the DJ program we use, has just implemented this new thing called stems. So we're able to make an instrumental, an a cappella, or out of anything, or just take only the drums, only the bass line, only the melody.
Yeah, because it's all in different.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's almost
I'm
like,
able to make these mixes like real fast. So I'll go, okay, this new Beyonce song is dope. Cuff it. I want to make a blend of it. So I'll just put it in a folder. I'll test out like 20, 30 different songs. I'll go, oh, that sounds dope. That sounds dope. Okay. Export it, put it in Ableton, do a little chop up. So sometimes they're real quick. Sometimes it takes a few times to perfect it.
Right.
Yeah.
DJing is always, I mean, the art of DJing, it's so, I respect it so much just because I've seen how creative DJs can get.
Right.
And it's not just about blends. It's not just about scratching. That's a whole other art. It's like not just about everything. It's producing. It's finding, like you said. Now with the stems, that's going to take DJing to a whole other level in terms of producing and what it's going to do.
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy.
I'll take the drums from here and I'll put it with this and I'll take that. Like it's
like I'm able to take that Elton John Dua Lipa song, Cold Heart, and just remove just the drums, but put these Afrobeat drums that make it a little funkier and make the bass line like from the original song swing in a different way.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is make these almost like low-key remixes where people don't even know it's a remix until they're dancing and going, oh, it's that song. Like, not like in your face. Like, it's totally different. Like, I want them to
TikTok
not realize it until they're halfway.
Of those things
Yeah, totally. Where it's like they're meant to be. It's like a married couple. Like, two different songs. Like, wow, they're meant for each other.
Yeah. So, no, I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll get into DJing now after all of that because I'll just probably be really overwhelmed. But there was always a part of me that I was like, damn, I wish I can learn how to DJ. Right. But I'll leave it to the masters.
You have the resources.
No, I know I do. But I'll leave it to the masters. I'm going to leave y'all. Yeah. Well, there's enough.
No judgment. There's a lot of people coming in. So if you want to, I'm like open arms to everybody that wants to DJ. You know, because it's like. I've even had some sort of like celebrity DJ people hit me and they're like, they feel so defensive when they're talking to me. Not like mad defensive, but just like, well, I've been doing this a long time and trying to like overcompensate where I'm like, I'm not judging you. Like I am all for whatever you do, whatever you're done. I know what I'm doing, so I'm happy for you. I'm not threatened.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're not. You're one of the very few DJs. You're a rare person.
I know a lot of DJs are like, what the hell?
A lot of DJs are very like.
I mean, we can all. Everybody brings something different to the table.
Yes.
In every situation, we can all learn from somebody somehow in some way, even in DJing. So
exactly. Yeah.
So a little bit more on like the mental health tip. I know that your husband is that's his
psychologist
specialty, right? Yeah. Okay, so he's a psychologist, and I know you guys for a little bit had a podcast about mental health that you're not doing anymore right now. Or it's on hold,
we took a break from it.
Yeah. But you put out some things about that. Is that something you can speak on a little bit? Like maybe, I don't know, simple ways people can learn about how to integrate mental health into their life in the same way they would integrate a diet or working out or practicing DJing? Like, is there a lightweight way to get into learning about your mental health rather than overwhelming way?
Well, I think people, the easiest way that I can just kind of say this is like, we all go to the doctors for a physical checkup.
Right.
We go to the dentist to make sure our teeth and gums are good. So I think your mental health is also part of that. And being able just to recognize whether it's going to a therapist to talk about and just check in.
Right.
Your mental health is health. And I think just like once people understand that, then everything else will be easier. Like, I think you need to start at the basics because we don't understand that. That mental health is health.
Right.
So, like, we just need to start there. Because for somebody like me who didn't even understand that.
Right.
When I had a household that I was running and I had a career, very demanding career, and I was doing all these things and I would say, I'm going to rest when I die. I'll rest when I die.
Right.
I'm going to be standing in this line, depositing this banks and checks and team no sleep and all that stuff. Like, I was hard about it. Like, I was this is the mentality, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't understand just that mental health is health.
Right.
Is physical health. So
yeah,
like,
that's true.
I think you just got to start there. You
Yeah.
just really need to start there. Like once you understand
How you
that,
just
how
even
you just
look at it.
view at it, just
Yeah.
look at it that way.
Right.
Because that's, you know, once you can change your perspective in the way you look at it, then you'll understand like, well, what? Oh, dang, health. Yeah. Mental health is important. My health for my mental is important. You start creating your boundaries,
Yeah.
or you start creating self-care, or more incorporating self-love to yourself, or you start incorporating certain things. One thing that I also learned and took away from doing these podcasts with my husband was if everyone has their top 5. Everyone has a top 5. Everyone's got like top 5 hip hop artists, top 5,
Right.
whatever. What is your top 5 the things that you love the most? What's on your
Right.
top 5?
Yeah.
And if you think about what's on your top 5, how long till you say yourself? Where do you put yourself on that list?
Right.
Are you number 1? Are you on the list? Are you number 2?
Right.
Like, are you even on the list?
yeah.
So like, if I just said that to you right now when you're like,
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, you didn't. I don't think you even put yourself on the list when I said
No.
what is your top 5.
No.
So whether you're on your list of number 5 or number 1, you should be on that list.
Right.
You are deserving to be on that list because you are important. You are deserving.
Yeah.
You are the reason why, like, you deserve just rest, love,
Yeah.
joy,
Yeah.
just being you.
Right. Give yourself that.
Yeah.
And let yourself accept it.
Let yourself stop. Just let yourself accept it.
Right.
Just stop trying to be cool for a second
Right.
because you think like, you know,
Yeah.
a hug is what, you know, some people don't need a hug. That's fine. But just like embrace that,
Right.
like that emotion,
Yeah.
like it's okay.
Right.
No one's going to judge you for it. It's okay.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
So-
important. And
Yeah.
and some of these things sound like common sense in a way when they're said out loud, but I think they're ignored or they're not like they're brushed to the side as something to deal with later.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we just saw that DJ Twitch passed on, right?
I'm still insanely shocked. I mean, like, I don't even know. You know, I still and I feel like not a bad person, but like I feel when I talk about it, I do the thing that you're not supposed to do. Like, he looked so happy. Look at this video. He's dancing. How is this possible? And then people are like, you don't understand depression. And I'm like, you're right. I guess I don't. But then I'm like, I want to understand.
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
Yeah,
Like,
because the way we all want to just go immediately to that. Oh, he doesn't look like the type.
yeah, like, I mean,
But
I don't know.
mental health doesn't have a type.
Right.
Mental health is health. Depression doesn't have a type.
Yeah.
Depression can be in anyone. It doesn't
Right.
have a type. It doesn't. They don't look like someone. That tells you how much of a stigma there is
Right.
with when you because I was definitely one of those people back in the day when, you know, we read about artists and celebrities taking their lives and we're like, damn, how awful, how selfish of them to take their own life. Like,
Right.
I didn't know any better. But
Right.
now, you know, when you know better, you could do better, right? So like learning and knowing and understanding and having sympathy and empathy towards people
Right.
with what they're struggling with. And it's unfortunate that he felt so much pain.
Yeah, like I can't even comprehend it.
No,
Like having
it's-
3 kids and a wife and his grandparents and his parents are around. It's like,
No.
oh my God.
But there's so much pain that lives in sometimes with people.
Right.
Because they're looking for validity. They're looking for validation and seeking that. And who knows what he was going through.
Yeah.
I don't want to
no
speak
idea.
onto what he was
Right,
going
we
through.
have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
But there was pain there.
Yeah.
And like, I think the question that we should be asking ourselves is, again, what is mental health? And that health is just
Yeah.
that
Right.
like
I mean, I also see a lot of people are like, check in on
your strong friend.
Yeah, or check in on your people, but I'm like, sometimes I'm almost like, what does checking in mean? You know what I mean? Because you're like, hey, how you doing? Good. okay, cool. Or like, I'm not doing good. Oh shoot, let's talk. But like, how do you even, if I'm in a place where I don't understand someone's depression, what's the proper way for me to even check in with them the proper way? You know, it's a bit confusing without setting them off or without seeming insensitive or actually getting through to them if it's such a strong thing that I can't comprehend. You know, I guess we all need more education on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I think for me, I've also started to actually tell people when someone's asking like, hey, how are you doing? You know what? I don't know, man. I've been feeling like not myself lately the last couple of days, you know?
Yeah.
And there's some people who that just no one knows the right answer. Like no one's going to say, this is how you respond. If someone says this is how you respond. Like you can say all those things. You can have that list, but like when you're put in that position, you may forget, right?
Yeah,
exactly. You may forget and you just like, damn, you know, it's either you're in like a frozen mode, like, oh, I didn't think they were gonna respond that way, right? So you're like frozen,
right?
But I've always just think like, if I were just to say, I'm not feeling so good, like I've been out of like, feeling out of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, the worst of somebody like the worst that can happen is be like, they can respond with, oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. Like, you need anything? Or, oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, but you'll be okay. Yeah, you're right. I'll be okay. But just being able to say, I'm not feeling so good. I had a rough week.
Right.
I had a rough week. The more we hear that from our colleagues,
it gives you a pass to be able to say it as well and not feel like you got to be like, good, and then walk away with like your fake smile.
The more we hear about that from people, I think that kind of helps break barriers, breaks a little bit.
Yeah. And I guess the more maybe we check in with ourselves, which is probably hard, you know, like I was even reading, I mean, it's, you know, we're recording this like 2 weeks before the end of 2022 for whenever anyone listens to this. And I've been reading some different things lately on people just about their year, like, and then checking in with themselves. And it's kind of interesting because, you know, people do the New Year's resolutions and all that stuff. And I think that's good. But I think there's more to it, you know, that you can check in things that happened this year and then what you want to change for the next year and stuff like that too.
For me personally, traveling has allowed me to reflect a lot about my childhood.
Really?
And a lot of my healing through traveling has been very, very at the forefront of everything.
Nice.
So like being a first generation Latina, first Spanish being my first language, English being my second language, coming from the undocumented parents of the American dream and all that stuff. Like for me, traveling wasn't something that was ever in my cards. I felt as a little girl, you just don't see that. It's for rich people, right? Kind of what we talked about.
Yeah.
But traveling has really allowed me to heal. Mm-hmm. It has really allowed me to reflect on healing, like reflect on certain things. And I can't tell you how much that has changed my life. I go to therapy myself. I go to therapy every Saturday. Oh, nice. I have my virtual therapist, even if it is just to check in. How are you doing? How's your week? And when you realize, like, I don't got nothing to talk about my therapist this week, something happens.
Something comes up.
Where you're just like in tears at the end of the session.
Wow. I guess that's one other hard thing is, like, everyone's like, go to therapy, but, like, it is a little bit harder to go out and find a therapist than everybody makes it seem. It's not like you just call therapy.com or something. You know, like,
Psychology
I mean,
Today.
I guess there are those websites that say, but that's a bit hard too. You know,
you gotta vet them.
Right.
You gotta really.
And sometimes it's hard to know where to start even with that. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Because
like your insurance company or what do you do? I mean, I don't even know. Who do you call? You know,
if you go to psychologytoday.com, you can filter out through your insurance company. If that's something that's important to you, you can filter through your insurance company. If it's a cash payment or not, you can filter through language. If you want them to speak English or Spanish, or if there's you can filter through multiculturalism. How important is it for them to understand multiculturalism? Oh, that's so cool.
Really? So what's that site?
Psychologytoday.com.
Cool.
You can filter through whether they are advocates or believes in LGBTQ or Christian religion. You know, anything that you feel is important for you as a value, like to have them have,
right,
you can filter through that and you can find therapists that way.
That's so cool.
Which is something that I think is a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm obviously Mexican American and maybe I want somebody who's going to understand my Latino family and how I grew up in this culturalism of American and Mexican, like how you want somebody who understands that for me. So do something very similar that way.
Yeah. No.
Psychologytoday.com. It's a great website.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really
You
good.
can read their bios. You can call them. You can email them.
Right.
I always tell people like, hey, email them. See if you can have a 15-minute consultation with them just to get their vibe, see how they're doing, ask them questions like, hey, how do you treat a person with this? Or like, what's the process? And
right.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And get a feel for them, because not every psychologist or not every therapist is the same.
Right, exactly.
And, you got to just see if it works.
Yeah. That's super helpful, and hopefully it helps people out there listening, you know, if that's something they want to get into. Some of the, I saw this one Twitter thread. I was trying to bring it up on my phone. I feel like you even spoke to some of these things, but this person was kind of asking questions for their annual review of themselves, and some of the things were like, what created energy this year, or what drained energy this year, or what did I change my mind on this year, and things like that. And it sounded like travel for you was one of those things. Yeah.
Travel, the loss of job.
Right.
I think, when people lose a job, like in COVID, we saw a lot of people lose their jobs.
Yeah. Everybody listening to this lost their job, for a different period of time. Yeah.
It's a grieving process. People forget that's part of grief.
Yeah.
So you're going to feel happy some days, sad, or maybe not feel anything at all, numbness.
True.
That is grief, So grief also comes in a form of losing your job.
Right. Yeah, it's so true.
Losing a pet, besides losing a loved one.
Right.
It's also loss of job. So, I think for me, traveling was something that allowed me to heal. People find therapy in shopping. People find therapy in sneakers and buying new whatever. And whatever that is for you, do more of it.
Yeah.
Unlock that joy. Unlock it. You deserve it.
Right.
Stop it. We've had a horrible couple of years already.
Yes.
Find your joy, man. Whether I like puzzles.
Nice.
I like escape rooms. I love escape rooms.
I just did my first one.
You did?
In Catalina. Randomly.
In Catalina? You did an escape room in Catalina?
Well, we just went to Catalina randomly. It was my kid's spring break. And we were like, what? We were off. We had already done something. I'm like, let's do something. So we hopped on the boat, went over there.
Yeah.
And then his friend had been talking about escape rooms, and we saw one. It was like some pirate thing, and so we did it. It was pretty fun.
Some of these escape rooms are so freaking dope, man, because it's not all scary. Some people think that, and they're thinking
this
immediate.
This one was probably more on the low budget steez, but it was still good. Yeah, it wasn't scary per se, but
they have those. Don't get it twisted. But we do Jurassic Park theme, or we do a Harry Potter theme, like a magician, or Leonardo da Vinci, or a scientist. They're
Have you ever
fun
not
ones.
Escaped?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we did a Da Vinci one that was really hard and was really challenging. We're like, oh man, but
just let us out.
Just let us out. We're time's up. Damn it! How many clues were we far away? Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no,
That's
but
so funny.
I love those things. But those are those things, the little things that bring us joy.
Yeah, you gotta do that.
Even if it's
outside of work.
Yeah, man. Yeah, find your joy.
Do you want to give we didn't get to talk about all the different I guess your journey into radio, and then all the different amazing jobs that you've done within all that, working for J-Lo and hosting these television shows and different things. Do you want to speak on any of that stuff?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird talking about myself that way.
Well, I guess, okay, then just to put it, can you tell us a bit about, how you found your love for radio and how that journey took you into, where you ended up at Power, but also within those other shows you did.
Yeah. So the love for radio came, obviously, me being Spanish being my first language.
Yeah.
My mom also, English was not very good. Obviously Spanish was her first language. She came here. She, Mexico has a really huge, like, we're so close to the border. So U.S., like American music is a big thing, obviously, which is why like Boyz II Men did a whole Spanish album. Motley Crue did a whole Spanish album. Right. Influence was huge. My mom loved the Bee Gees. She loved Michael Jackson. She loved Madonna. She loved the Beatles. So we listened to a lot of that music. She listened to a lot of that music, and she also obviously listened to the Spanish music. But when she would listen to that music, she was always happy. She was always singing and happy and sociable and such a, social butterfly and stuff like that. And so I saw her always just being happy as a little girl when music was on.
Right.
And I think that's what sparked the joy of music for me. And then as the years went by, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. So I was the only little brown girl. My first name is Jessica with a Y.
Right.
And so, teachers are calling me Jessica instead of Jessica.
Thinking like it's messed up, like the spelling.
Exactly. And to the point where I was like, okay, just call me Jessica. Right. And I hated, and you start to lose yourself in
lose your identity. Yeah.
So I was losing my identity, and it wasn't until I started listening to radio that made me feel like I was a part of something.
Right.
Like I said,
that's interesting.
The Baker Boys, Josefa Salinas, Náutica de la Cruz. I heard these names and I was like, are they people out there that like sound like me, that look like me? And I love music.
Yeah.
Right. So
that know how to say my name.
That would probably know how to say my name.
Right.
Right. And so Nick and Eric were just so great. The two fat Mexicans, on your radio. And best. They were great. I love them. And so like just that energy.
Yeah.
I felt like I was listening to family.
Right.
On the radio.
Yeah.
I was listening to my family on the radio. So I think that's where the connection was. Like my mom, family, loves music. Big boys, listening to family. They love music.
Right.
It's like my cousins.
That's so cool.
So that's where I felt like that for me was like, that's the connection. And then
that's great.
As I got into it, radio, you start creating your alter ego and you start to realize, all right, I know who I am. But then with radio, you feel like I got to do TV because that's the next step, right? Yeah. TV's the next step. That's the next step is TV. And I did this wonderful show with Jennifer Lopez, produced it. It's called The Collective. She was my boss. Amazing. And, I think for me, when I was doing that show, even though I learned a lot, I also realized I was really uncomfortable being in front of the camera. I was very uncomfortable being in front of the camera because I wasn't the beautiful, sexy girl. I was just
the like stereotypical whatever that you thought you were supposed to be.
So I was starting to lose my identity again.
Right.
And I didn't know if I liked it or not. Right.
Yeah.
I did Love and Hip Hop.
Oh yeah.
Season 1 of Love and Hip Hop. And I had to like do the extra makeup and the extra big hair because these shows, these reality shows
TV,
is the
exaggerated.
Right, exaggerated. The reunion, you have to have a gown, and I'm like losing my identity again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
Right.
I was invited to do the talk on CBS. So I was a top talker.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing that. I did that a couple of times. And I liked that.
Yeah.
Because I felt like more me.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't have to be the extra. I like getting my hair done. I like doing my makeup.
Of course, yeah.
And I was like, man, this is something that I could do. And I really enjoyed that. Then the pandemic hit. So then we stopped doing those things. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But that was kind of like where it's at now, and I'm trying to figure out whether if I still, have a chance to want to do some TV in the future.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you have a chance if you want.
I gotta find an agent, Spider. Anybody know an agent? I need an agent. With all this work that I've done, I need an agent.
Hit us up. No, well,
I've been denied.
I mean, I know. I feel you. It's hard. At the end of the day, you got to look out for yourself.
It's
this
hard.
is what we learn in all this entertainment.
Even with all this stuff that I've done,
and all the people that come up to you like, you're a legend, and you're like, you don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, as somebody, two people that have both been doing a thing for a long time, and everybody just assumes everything's easy. You can just snap your fingers and do anything you want or DJ anywhere you want. It's like, no, we're all still going through things. And, and life's changing. There's new people that weren't here 20 years ago that they were 2 years old and now they're 22 years old,
Yeah.
Everybody's all trying to do the same things. And,
exactly. Yeah. And no matter how much stuff that recognition that you have and I have, whatever, like we're still trying to get to the next phase of our life.
Yeah, and remain happy.
Yeah,
and
enjoy.
Continue to progress and not feel stagnant.
And know your value, know your worth.
Yes. Right. And be able to feel confident about that and not get beat down about it. Like you said, that self-doubt that can creep in.
Exactly.
Whether it's about jobs or if you're doing enough or if you're making the right amount of money, you're charging too much or not enough or whatever it is,
Yes.
It's hard.
Yes, it's hard. Yeah. I definitely, you're at the, so all that to say, I'm looking for an agent. Everybody, CAA said no to me. So if y'all know anybody, let me know at
I've heard many
WME
stories about people.
Or Paradigm.
A lot of people get said no, and then the right thing comes to them. So
right, I'm hoping that this podcast does that for me.
It will. I feel it.
Thank you.
Amazing. Well, before we get out of here, do you have any words of advice or parting words you want to say to the audience, or anything to promote? Or what's coming for your artist?
2023. I hope, man, we can. We just got a great EP out that's on all over the streaming services. Thankfully,
maybe get some DJs to remix it. Or
you should totally remix it.
Give us
Fun fact: T-Pain.
Put the stems.
Fun fact: T-Pain put her on his Twitch. You know how he
I watch his
reviews.
Twitch. I've watched it from when he started.
Yeah, he does all the reviews. Well, he reviewed her song. And was like, I'm gonna get on this remix. If they hit me up I'll do it for free. Lies, T-Pain.
Because you've been hitting him up.
I hit up somebody at Nasty Boy Records. They said, we will get back to you. And I never heard anything back. So, waiting for T-Pain
E-Rock. E-Rock. You got a connection, right? Hit him up.
Waiting for T-Pain to hit us with that remix that he said he would do for free because he loved the song so much.
Maybe go in the chat and throw like 10 subscriptions and be like, yo,
get
on the thing.
I should, right? But then at the end
of guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, some guerrilla marketing. I should. I'm a terrible manager that way.
No. I'm brainstorming with you. We're constantly learning. Come on.
So we have that. We just did we had a great showcase in December. 2023 is just gonna.
That's great.
Hopefully bring us some more prosperity with her and growth. And
amazing.
So
cool.
Yeah, she's been honestly we've been very fortunate to work with some really talented producers. Shout out to Lion Child. They've worked with Britney Spears, BB Rexa, so some really great, credible artists there and amazing talent. Colby O'Donis, another great producer that worked with her on a song as well. So we've just been really fortunate to have some.
I need to listen to it. I need to check
Spider Urge remix.
Let's do it. Maybe I could do a little edit. It's doing these edits.
It's indie pop, so we'll see how you know.
I mean, let's do it. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. Yeah. Congrats on that. Congrats on all the new things that are coming for you, and I'm sure 2023 will. I'm like, what year is it?
Right?
Will bring many unpredictable but amazing things into your life and stuff. So, and thanks for just coming on, taking the time and staying up after that long flight.
I know, it's okay. No, all
and
good.
Sharing all those amazing, insightful gems and cool things and things about your story that I think are inspirational to me and a lot of people out there.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for inviting me, and I wish you all the best amazing surprises as well for you and your family.
You. Yeah. All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Peace out. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Yesi Ortiz for coming on the show and providing us all those bits of knowledge and her experience and things that we can learn from for her and just telling us her story and taking the time. It was really cool, especially after that Europe trip, just popping right in here. That was crazy. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you rate and review the podcast and keep in touch with me. The 20 podcast is produced by Beatsource. Join us next week for more interviews as we discuss music that matters to DJs. I'm DJ Spider signing off.